Good morning, everyone. This is Mark with Wear Parts, and with me I've got Eric Derry. He's part of our inside sales customer care team, and today we're going to talk about all things fertilizer knives. We're going to start off with the basic mole knife here, and it is our KFL 800 series. And so what it is, it's a standard 15-inch knife with a heat-treated boron steel shank. It's a 1/2 inch thick, and so that's your basic. It's your heat-treated boron steel shank, and then it's got this this high chrome front toe that's special on it. I was going to go ahead and let Eric discuss the benefits of that knife.
Sure. One of the nice things about a knife with this style is that it is almost a self-sealing knife. As you're running through the ground, you have this little ramp right here where the soil is going to run over the top of it, and ideally the exit point of the soil is going to be above where your anhydrous comes out. So as you're going through the ground, you're actually almost digging a tunnel through the ground. That's the mole nickname. And that anhydrous is able to adhere to more particles because you're disturbing a larger amount of area underneath the ground. And also, as that soil comes over the top of this, it's not going to be able to come up the back and be able to escape out.
Gotcha. And it's actually quite a big cavity it's creating down there for your fertilizer, right? But is that almost 2 inches wide?
It's going to be 1 3/4 inches.
Okay, yeah, it's just shy of 2 inches. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So you're putting a nice little, run a nice little tunnel through the ground there, and really giving that anhydrous a lot of room to adhere to the soil particles.
And that particular knife has a is that a 3/8 inch tube?
Yeah, this particular one has a 3/8 tube. Again, this one is it's an open end. It's got the splitter down here to distribute the anhydrous on both sides and out the back, so that you're trying to get that to spread as much as possible under the ground. Under the ground. And keeping it under the ground.
And then it's got that high chrome high chrome tube protector as well to just protect the tube from wearing. So
absolutely.
That's that's I would say like your starter knife, and then we move on to the same thing here. I think the only variation here is the tube, but again, just on it's a heat-treated boron steel shank, and it's a 15-inch knife, 1/2 inch thick shank. It's got the high chrome toe, and Eric, go ahead and tell us about the toe, and then also about the application of your tube.
Sure. On this, of course, with this toe again, you have that mole style where it's going to have the soil being able to go over the top, creating a pocket in the ground for the anhydrous. And in this particular one, this is for a heavier rate. It's using a 1/2 inch tube instead of a 3/8 right here. And other than that, it's fairly similar, pretty much the equivalent of the one we previously talked about with the 3/8 tube. Every time you have this high chrome, that high chrome for the extended wear, it's really keeps that thing lasting a long time.
Very good. Go ahead and tell us about the next one.
There are some applications where there might be, we're using a 3/4 inch tube only. Here we've replaced the chrome tube protector with AR 400 side plates. And as we move through, on this particular one, this will be a vapor tube knife. Again, you have your 15-inch, 1/2 inch thick, boron steel, heat-treated shank with the high chrome front insert, AR 400 side plates. In this particular one, we have a 3/8 and a 3/4. So you have your anhydrous here, and then you have your vapor to collect the vapor that instead of blowing off, that way it stays in the ground.
And with that wide, 1 3/4 inch and 7/8 wide foot on it, it creates quite a cavity for your fertilizer there, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. The more disturbance you can have under the ground, keeping it under the ground, opening that up, pulverizing those soil particles, gives you more particles for that anhydrous to actually attach to.
And then you were saying that just the way it exits the ground, it actually seals the it actually works as a sealer as well, Eric? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
as that soil comes over the top of this lip, it's actually going to be collapsing in over the top and keeping that anhydrous underneath, keeping that level underneath.
That's killer. That's good. Thank you for that. And then we've got another knife here. This one actually is the KFL 800 series, but what's special about this particular knife is that it's got two 3/8 tubes on there. Why would someone, Eric, need a knife with two 3/8 tubes?
If you're doing a dual rate with this, you could have two anhydrous, or you could be doing an anhydrous and liquid application at the same time.
Okay.
So you can do a dual application or a dual rate with that one.
Very good. And this one, again, it's the heat-treated boron steel shank, 1/2 inch thick with your high chrome mole knife front on it. And then we have just one more, right? This one here, again, is your 15-inch knife, and it's a heat-treated boron steel shank, 1/2 inch thick, with your high chrome mole knife front toe on it, which creates a bigger concavity. It's also got some weld here, hard-facing weld, just to help on your wear, and then your AR 400 side plates. And this particular knife, Eric, tell us about that tube setup there.
Again, here you have a 3/8, then a 1/2 inch tube. That way you can be doing two different types of fertilizer, where you could have your anhydrous here, and back here you could be doing a urea, a P&K application. Most of that's going to be broadcast, but you could be doing a separate application that you're actually injecting into the ground.
Gotcha. Tell us a little bit about how that toe works to create a big void under the ground and seal the dirt.
As this is running through the ground, you can see that it's going to actually open up a cavity, create like a tunnel running through the ground. And as the soil passes over the top of this, it's going to cover the end of that tube and make sure that anything that you're putting in the ground is going to be staying in the ground.
Gotcha. So it doesn't escape and render itself useless into the atmosphere.
Correct. And if you're still having troubles with sealing, you can always add a beaver tail sealer to that too.
Gotcha. And would that go on outside of these plates?
It'll go on the back, about halfway up here.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that way, in some soils where it's really tough to keep that anhydrous in the ground, you can add that to it. Make sure you get that smearing effect over the top of it, and keep everything down where it's supposed to be.
That brings up a good question. So what type of soils, Eric, would it be that where the gases would want to escape more? Is that more of a sandy type soil, or?
A sandy type soil is probably going to fall in fairly easy.
Okay.
You get into a tighter soil where you tend to have as you're running through the ground and that trench stays open, you need a way to close that up.
Oh, gotcha. So a heavier soil
Right.
is okay.
A stickier soil that isn't going to fall back in.
Fall back in. Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's several of our mole knife configurations. Again, there's always seems like there's somebody that needs something more special. So if you have a need, please reach out to Eric. He's in our inside sales customer care team, and we'll just go over what you need and get your needs taken care of.